Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at Umbreon in the Go Battle League. I haven't really taken a look at this Pokemon for quite a long time, so today we're going to take a look at this Pokemon with the move Psychic. So the legacy charge move of Psychic on this thing, because we kind of want to use it as a trap for Annihilape, because there's actually a way of winning at least the zero shield scenarios for Xyno with the Psychic variant of the Umbreon if they don't run close combat. And so it is an interesting trap. We're going to have a lead here that really kind of wants to see something like an Annihilape, as we have the super effective Shadow Claw with our Trevenant, and in the back we're going to run Diggersby, which I think the moveset might not be right. I would most likely rather go for Fire Punch, Quick Attack, and the Scorching Sands here over the Hyper Beam. But I was kinda worrying a little bit about Mantine, which I don't think I actually encountered. Maybe I encountered like one or two Mantine, but basically next to none of them. And so going for Hyper Beam on this Pokemon did not really prove to be that useful. So I would recommend you to not go for Hyper Beam, but maybe go for Fire Punch. Speaking of Hyper Beam, can we land one here? This would be kinda great. And we can, goodbye Azumarill, and they're going to have a Trevenant in the back, and so our Umbreon is going to be able to just align itself, and so there's no way of them winning the game. Umbreon kind of fell off, just mainly because of the secondary coverage move that does have here, with Psychic being nerfed, plus also Last Resort not being a great move to have, and Mandibuzz just getting buffed with Aerial Ace. But still, this Pokemon has quite a lot of potential in the current meta, and so it's a cool Pokemon to use for sure, still very viable. Here we're gonna see that the opponent is gonna go down anyway, like we can use a shield here if we want to. There's no way they can win this one, and so we can just go for the Shadow Ball, I want to say, and win, but they decide to forfeit anyway. Here is kind of an awkward one for us, kind of like any kind of flying type Pokemon in the lead can be a little bit tricky. What I usually try to go for is for 6 fast moves and then try to swap out. Here they went straight for the Aerial Ace, which is good for them. But you kind of want to swap out with some energy stored already on the Trevenant, in my opinion. Also, you kind of want to get some fast move pressure onto the opponent's Gligar or whatever flying type that you're going to encounter in the lead, because you're going to put them then into range where you can go for 2 foul plays with the Umbreon and just like win the matchup with it, which is kind of nice. Here we're going to get out the opponent's Lanturn, and this is again something that this team kind of succeeds with. You're going to have a lead that is going to be very good against water type Pokemon or something like a Whiscash, for example, and you have a Pokemon in the back with the Diggersby that really does not want to encounter any kind of water type, and so we will be able to bait them out usually with our Umbreon's Haze Swap. As you're gonna see here, the opponent gonna be able to connect another charge move. It is going to be sadly the Thunderbolt, and so they can knock me out, but I can still go ahead and go for the Seed Bomb to knock out the opponent. Doubt that they're going to use a shield here, and they won't. And so we're gonna get out the Gligar again. I can go for a charge move, hopefully get the shield from the opponent, because then Hyper Beam would be free, and let's see if we can connect some Hyper Beams. No, we cannot. It's going to be the Registeel in the back. Now it's a guessing game, because what you're gonna see here is now that Scorching Sands basically does perfectly 50% of the health of the opponent. If they go for Zapkin and get the debuff here, they might still have a chance, but they decide to go for the Focus Blast. I correctly shield this move up, and so this Scorching Sands should be enough to knock them out, which is quite important. Their only play was definitely to go for the double resisted Zap Cannon, but even then I doubt they would have had a chance of winning this game. But maybe they can still come back from this. Let's find out here. Dig is coming through, doing basically no damage. Can we go for another Hyper Beam here in time? They can go for another charge move. It might actually still be a little bit closer than I want to, but no, here is another beam coming your way, and so we can win this game. Next opponent coming up, we're going to encounter a Talonflame in the lead, which is quite awkward for us here as well, but what we can do is we can get some extra energy and swap after 6 fast moves into the Umbreon. They go into the Surfetched, and here make a little bit of a mistake. Against something like the Annihilape, you have to hit 1 foul play and 1 Psychic anyway, so going for the foul play first is kind of a smart thing that you can still do. But here, of course, Last Resort would be neutral, and the other charge move would be resisted, so going for the Psychic would have been the play. But I know the team anyway, and so I decided to forfeit here because I know the player, and I know who they got the team from, and I know that there's another fighter most likely lurking in the back, which I had no chance against. So, next one, we're going to encounter here the Alolan Sandshrew, and honestly, this is also one of the reasons why I would have rather had Fire Punch on this Pokemon. But it's actually okay, because they swap out into the Azumarill, allowing us to go for a big Hyper Beam here against it. No way they're going to shield this. Already, I think, like the third Hyper Beam here, which is quite wild. And we can try to go for a Scorching Sands in time, but sadly, they can go for the Ice Beam here and knock me out. But we can at least align ourselves, and this is very important, because you don't want to have the Azumarill aligned against the Umbreon. But I'm still going to be forced to use a shield here, which is not ideal, as now the opponent is going to be able to maybe even reach another one way too fast than I expected. I thought I could still go for another fast move, but I can't. And so we're gonna try to go for the full farm down here. They swap out into the Sand Slash, and we are in a tough spot, but this was definitely our own fault. We can still swap out into the Umbreon, but I doubt that Umbreon is going to have any kind of play here to win this game. It's definitely going to be a tough one. We have to hope for a Pokemon in the back that's going to be weak to like either the dark typing or the psychic type coverage, but let's find out here. The foul play going to connect. We're going to be able to two-shot them at least, and we still have at least a Seed Bomb stored on our Trevenant, because we went up to one hand energy, went for one Shadow Ball, so one Seed Bomb still there. And this might actually come in clutch here, because there's going to be that Lanturn still lurking in the back, and so this game is not over yet. We can go for a foul play. This is going to be able to get some solid damage, but we at least have to go for 3 of them in order to knock them out, so it's very unlikely that they're going to use a shield here on one of the next ones, and so we're going to be in a still tough spot here. This is gonna be able to connect, and we will not get the shield yet. We have to hope that we're gonna get the shield with the next move that is coming through, because Seed Bomb is kind of what we need to connect against the opponent. But what we're gonna see here is that the opponent decides to go ahead and use a shield, and so we have a chance, as we can go for the Seed Bomb. They tried to wait out the clock, but it didn't work out for them, and so we can go for the knockout here and farm down the Azumarill in time. But it was such a close game for sure, but let's move on here to the next opponent. We're going to encounter Dugong in the lead. Dugong is an issue for this team for sure. By the way, I played this team, I just did not really remember the moveset on the Digger Spears. I think I had a different moveset with like Mud Shot for sure, and then either Fire Punch or like Hyper Beam or something like this. But I definitely had a different moveset on this before, and I had like a great run. The last time Great League was available, but I accidentally just deleted the recordings of it, so I cannot show it to you here. But we're going to see the Annihilape coming in. And now, hopefully, they're not going to expect a Psychic here, because this would do massive damage. Let's see if this is going to work out. It does work out, and so we're gonna even get the defense drop onto them, and this is exactly what I kinda mean. You can now flip the matchup against the Annihilape, because they just don't expect you to run Psychic on an Umbreon, which is quite hilarious. Night Slash coming through, not doing any damage. Night Slash as well as the Shadow Ball. Both are resisted moves, and so we're going to be able to go for a foul play now against the Dugong, getting them low. We can maybe even reach another one. I think we can still survive a move here, can we? Like, I think we can. Yes, we can, and so we can go for one more foul play, trying to get them low. And now I can actually decide to swap out here as well, and I do decide to swap out. A little bit silly though at the end of the day, because they actually still had a move stored, but it is what it is. We're now locked into the next matchup as well, with a little bit of a lower amount of energy, or like a lower amount of damage output here, because we are debuffed. But what we can do is we can go for one Shadow Ball, and now it's down to our Digger Spear, but we don't run Fire Punch. 2 Fire Punches would have been enough here. We are only having resisted / double resisted moves here against the opponent, while they have super effective moves. But there's still maybe a way of winning this. Let's find out. We're going to see the Scorching Sun coming through, and we have to try to catch a move here. It does not work out for the next move. It is going to just be that Seed Bomb coming through here again, but I have to try to catch the next move onto my Umbreon, and it does work out perfectly here. This is going to be a Seed Bomb, and so they're going to be Energy Dry. I can still go for a Scorching Sands. Can we actually still win this game? This is looking great. This should knock them out. It does knock them out, and the Dugong has too much health left. Still, kinda unfortunate, of course, with the lead that we encountered, but it's still going to be fine. Better lead, and also better Pokemon to swap into me, and I make a little bit of a mistake here maybe as well. I thought this would be the best play that I could go for, because I thought with the Shadow Claw damage that we got through onto them, we would be able to put them into range for one Scorching Sands, plus like the fast move pressure that we have with the Digger Spear as well. Turns out, this is not the case, and also I don't think I've ever got the debuff with Scorching Sands. It's like, for me, it's kinda crazy to see how the difference is between Scorching Sands and Scald. Scorching Sands is like a 30% chance to drop the opponent's attack there, while the Scald is basically 50% chance, at least at the current time. I would imagine that we're gonna see a change towards this eventually at least. But yeah, basically I never get Scorching Sands debuff, and for Lee Scald I also kinda not get that too often, but at least it's going to be way more common, so like those 20% really matter. Also, another Hyper Beam landing here. The amount of Hyper Beams are kind of wild. If you enjoy all the Hyper Beams landing, then feel free also to leave a like and subscribe. That's hilarious that the opponent got the drop there on the Pokemon, which I did not expect at all. I can go for the Seed Bomb, hope that they decide to use a shield here, which they don't, but I'm okay with that, because I feel like this is kind of range where I can go for some foul play damage and just farm them down afterwards. What we will see here as well is going to be the Dig going to connect against us, which is fine. I can go for the foul play spam, and I think I'm going to be in a decent spot as I decide to use a shield here as well. They still have another shield left. I can try to reach another foul play. I have to be a little careful that I don't throw a foul play against a potential incoming Azumarill. They're still locked though. This should be just an aerial ace, so I decide to let this move go through, but now it's going to be scary as I can swap out into the Azumarill, but let's see if we can still win this game. I can go for the Psychic. This is going to connect. We're going to be able to go for the... it's not going to be a full farm down yet because we're forced to use a shield here against the opponent's Ice Beam. We can go for the full farm down now at least and go for the Seed Bomb straight away, and they have to outspeed me in order to have a chance of winning this game. Can they outspeed me? Let's find out here. They cannot, and so we can knock them out, win this game, and move on to the next opponent. Let's take a look at what they're going to run here. They're going to have the Altaria, which is going to be a Pokemon that I don't really enjoy too much with it, because my lead is weak to Skytech, and my Pokemon in the back, the Umbreon, is going to be weak to the Moonblast, so they're always going to have coverage against me. I tried to catch a move here, didn't work out, and getting hard-walled straight away by the opponent's Azumarill here, which is not really ideal, but we can still at least go for Psychic. Not as ideal as last resort after the huge nerf that Psychic got thanks to Medicham being common. Obviously, they can revert this Psychic nerf, by the way, completely, because, like, this is the thing as well. They changed Medicham in the season where they introduced Annihilape. Annihilape would have got rid of Medicham no matter what anyway. So, like, that was kind of necessary. A lot of the nerfs that we had back in the day, like Earthquake, which I made a video about recently as well, like, stuff like this are kind of irrelevant now, because there's just, like, this power creep that moves that are way more energy needing, something like this, are just unplayable basically, or like have next to no play, like for example something like an Earthquake. So yeah, it is kind of an awkward one, but here we're gonna see the opponent is going to have to take a 1 Seed Bomb here as well. I have to say, the game still plays like garbage, like literally the worst state that I can remember for a long time. There was of course a worse state back in the day before they tried to fix it for once, but like yeah, it's really bad right now. Hopefully there is going to be a change towards it soon. Hopefully there's a solution to the lag issues that we have currently. But yeah, we're very likely gonna get some news towards the new season soon as well. There's nothing out at the current time I'm recording, but hopefully next season going to be better also without the frame drops right now. Anyway, here we're gonna see the Lanturn not appreciating any Scorching Sands here as they decide to use a shield, fire shield down from the opponent. We have at least 2 good answers against electric type Pokemon with a grass and ground type Pokemon here. But as you're gonna see, we can outspeed them, go for the Scorching Sands, knock them out straight away here. And they only going to have the Altaria in the back. And I was thinking, I'm going to be fine here. I have like a lot of pressure with the Quick Attack and Shadow Claw. Turns out they have Dragon Pulse. And also you saw there a little bit, there was a frame drop. And the frame drop is going to most likely cost me the game, as I was not able to get an extra Shadow Claw in. And so the opponent gonna win by that. Final battle for today. Decent lead for us, not the best, and they swap out into the Feraligatr. Should have kind of realized earlier that I should have swapped out into my Umbreon here. Big mistake by me, definitely a big mistake, and I kind of still want to keep my Trevenant alive, and that's why I decided to use a shield, because I could see them having another water type in the back if they use Feraligatr as a save swap. Here we're going to be able to at least resist the fast move from the opponent onto our Umbreon. Charge move still going to hurt, but we can easily take 2 of them. I can go for a foul play, trying to force basically a knockout before they can go for another charge move, which does not work out at all, which I guess at the end of the day was a little bit of a mistake. Show went for 1 fast move before throwing, but I was hoping that it would knock them out, but it doesn't. Also, in comes Magnezone again, and they're going to have to take a foul play now, which hopefully gonna put them into a range where I can still go ahead and go for the full farm down with our Diggersby in the back. Diggersby, even though we don't have much out here, is still going to be a very solid matchup, as we gonna see now the opponent is going to be forced to go for mirror shots against us, not doing really any damage against us here as well, and so we can just go for the fast move down with our Diggersby, getting a million energy basically here, and Hyper Beam is going to be very, very solid most likely. So let's see. The opponent is going to go down after this next quick attack. They sadly still get another move off, which is going to be, I think, the 4th mirror shot here for the day. They're going to get the attack drop, which is quite unfortunate, as now this Hyper Beam is doing not as much damage. But we can still swap out into our Trevenant, and I decided to use a shield here. I know it's going to be very likely just a bait, and I know as well that the opponent is going to try to catch a move here next, but yeah, good catch from the opponent, making this game definitely a little bit closer. But I don't think they actually even need any damage here anymore. I can just go for the Seed Bomb straight away, and this should be all it takes to knock them out. And so we're gonna win this final battle. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.